Get huge savings all summer long with the Buy Here, Sell Here program at the Team Automotive Group. Sell your vehicle to us and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Get Team VIP service at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
That would be concerning and maybe set a precedent moving forward.
If you have plans to be outside, you might hit a couple of these little passing showers.
A drug bust and a few arrests made. Look at what they hauled in here.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to 9 News Now here on WAFB Plus.
Monday needs to calm down.
Oh, it's busy.
It's been, look, this morning, it started this morning, maybe depending on when you woke up, a little like rumble of thunder, and you're like, okay, we could use some of this rain, this kind of thing. And then some folks maybe getting some storms. We'll kind of take a look at that, dealing with power outages as well. A lot to get to, but I guess we should start right here. Sunrise coming up, and here we go.
Peeking behind some of the clouds here on this Monday morning. Let's get with Dr. Steve because we've heard some great rain chances are in store for us today, but it may not impact everyone.
Yeah, that's right, Liz. Kind of like the overnight, where some of us gets pretty good rain overnight, some of you not much at all. Here at WAFB, for instance, nothing measurable in our rain gauge, whereas at my house on the east side of town, over an inch of rain overnight. All right, here's what we've got left this morning. Rains are kind of fading pretty quickly now. The last of these showers extending from St. James Parish down into parts of Terrebonne, Lafourche, Houma, Thibodaux, some light stuff. Eastern part of Assumption, some light sprinkles left as well, and that's about it. Temperatures mid to upper 70s for the most part. Baton Rouge 78, Gonzales right now at 77 degrees. So I do think we'll see a bit of a lull here in the rains through the remainder of the morning. And with that, especially if the clouds break a bit, which I think they will, temperatures should start to rebound into the low 90s. I have the high today, 98, so still hot, just not as hot, not the extreme heat we had over the weekend and last week. And notice how rain chances rebound late this afternoon, this evening. I've actually got rain chances getting higher into the evening at 6 o'clock. So let's take a look at that on Futurecast, the HRRR. Now each model run that's coming in of this one, the graph model as well, they're really kind of waffling all over. But the idea is that through the remainder of the morning, I think will be mainly dry. Here we are at noon. Big question mark is, how much sunshine do we get? If the clouds hang tough, then we might be in the 80s instead of 90s at noon. But I still think temperatures rebound this afternoon. Here we are at 4 o'clock. The HRRR starts to have some storms redeveloping. And then late today, this is 6:30, actually has storms moving east to west. Bit of an unusual pattern, but we'll keep an eye on it. Bottom line is still expecting some more rain today, especially late in the day and this evening, but not going to be everywhere necessarily. Now, we still have the potential of a few strong storms as we saw over the weekend. We had some storms that produced wind damage. That potential is still there today. So 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather. Wind damage is the main concern, although some storms could produce hail as well. All right. Let's update you on the tropics this morning. We're going to talk a lot about Idalia here in the northwestern Caribbean, but I do need to mention out here in the Atlantic, Franklin has really taken off. Now the season's first major hurricane, and it looks like it continues to strengthen this morning. Good news with this one is it looks like it's going to stay west of Bermuda, which is right here, and then turn north over the open Atlantic. Idalia did manage to strengthen over the weekend. A key was that the circulation remained offshore. Thinking had been that it would interact with the Yucatan decent bit. It didn't, so that allowed it to strengthen, even in the face right now of some northerly wind shear. And the bad news is conditions only expected to get more favorable as this eventually moves into the Gulf of Mexico. So right now, maximum wind 65 miles per hour after completing a bit of a loop over the weekend, now moving off to the north at 8. And you can see we've got hurricane watches now up for parts of the Florida coastline. So as it moves northward, it is forecast to strengthen. And the advisory came out at 4 o'clock this morning for the first time, now explicitly showing potentially a major hurricane, a Category 3, making landfall in Florida by early Wednesday. And then from there, continuing up the southeastern U.S. coastline, so impacting parts of Georgia, South Carolina, maybe North Carolina, depending on the exact track. And what's added bad news here is that right now it looks like this system will be intensifying right on through landfall, which makes this extra impactful. And then you see it turning east over the Atlantic. All right, this is the simulated satellite, what might happen with Idalia. This is the graph model, and I'm going to advance this, and the white line here is the official forecast. So tomorrow morning, the graph model does show this getting better organized as it emerges in the southeastern Gulf. Shows the center, it looks like a little bit east of the official forecast, but through time, it actually has the center just about right on top of the National Hurricane Center forecast. And you notice how by tomorrow night, Tuesday night, it continues to organize, continues to strengthen, and eye becomes evident. And as it heads towards landfall, it just continues to show it strengthening and getting better organized. So obviously bad news if that plays out. That is the expectation. So it stays well east of us. Another thing we'll track is right now that part of the Florida coastline is somewhat sparsely populated, but if this makes a little shift to the right, which is still very much in the realm of possibility, then you start looking at more significant impacts into places like Tampa and Orlando. So keeping a close eye on that, even though it's going to stay well east of us. All right, here at home, good rain chances return later today, 98 for a high. How about 92 for a high tomorrow? That will be a nice break. Still some scattered storms around tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Idalia actually going to help us out locally. Northerly flow on the backside of the circulation will kind of reinforce some drier weather in our part of the world. So high still in the mid-90s, but humidity will really drop. Morning starts in the low 70s. By the weekend, humidity rebounds. A few storms return, highs mid to upper 90s. And there you see it. Early next week, we could be back in the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. 7:09 now with an update on the roads. Here's Johnny H.
Steve, thank you. Good morning, everybody. And we're looking okay here in the Baton Rouge area. Slow down out of Denham Springs. This is our morning, normal morning backups. O'Neill Lane to past Millerville this morning. Bridge traffic is okay going out. Coming in from the west on 10 eastbound, a little bit slow there. And don't forget, we were talking about some power outages in and around the Ascension Parish area. It's Manchac Acres, kind of for a point of reference right here. Here's Airline Highway right there. And that's not all, but that's some of where you may be experiencing some power outages. Then we take you over toward the Lafayette area where we're already seeing backups on I-10 coming in from Lafayette. In fact, our backups were just about 5 miles a little earlier. Let's see if we can get a track on that. And it's starting to back up, not quite to Breaux Bridge yet, but we are seeing about a 5 mile, almost a 5 mile backup. It's due to road work. They've got one lane closed now through noon tomorrow, and this was the case over the weekend. And you can see that bumper to bumper traffic before you even get on the Atchafalaya Basin. Folks making the way through Henderson and getting up onto the basin. That right lane is blocked due to some road work they're doing right near Butler Rose. It opens back up to 2 lanes right before you get to the Atchafalaya River overpass, right around Lake Pelba, if you will. 7:10, if you are just joining us, we have some developing news we found out in the newsroom a little while ago. We first alerted you to it on 9 News this morning, and more details on that. Heads up if you have students in school in Livingston Parish. Here's Matt and Liz.
Johnny, understandably so. Some of those kids might be on buses right now being rerouted home because classes are canceled today.
So why is that? Well, earlier this morning you had a number of schools, actually a number of individual employees as well, get bomb threats. Now, typically that is not something that we report on, right? Because we don't want to encourage any kind of copycats. But we are doing this clearly because they have canceled classes, which impacts the parents and the students out there.
The Livingston Parish Public Schools says they do not believe the threat to be credible. They're working with state agencies to make sure that that is the case, but out of an abundance of caution, they're taking this seriously, making sure no kids make their way to campuses across Livingston Parish. So just know classes and activities, after school activities, all going to be canceled today. They expect to resume classes tomorrow.
That's the good news right there. We'll keep you in the know. Speaking of keeping you in the know, from the Livingston Parish School District to the East Baton Rouge Public School District, the superintendent on the show this morning, Dr. Cito Narcisse. Obviously the conversation is all about the transportation issues and the quite literal path forward. So
the path forward today, just know that they're still doing the staggered pickup schedules with elementary schools getting out at
like 3:25.
That's it. And the high school and middle schoolers are 1:25. So keep in mind that's going to be the pace forward here up until at least September 11th, I believe. And then moving forward, what is the permanent solution here? Well, Dr. Cito Narcisse saying they're still working to implement those elementary school transfer points and those transportation updates, similarly to how the school board meeting ended on Thursday.
And so, you know, when we're talking with them, it doesn't look like there's any plan beyond current, right? What's going going on right now. And so are these stipends that are in place going to be enough to encourage these drivers who are there to work even more routes to cover all the kids in all the schools? Is it going to be enough to pull in bus drivers who aren't currently here now? EBR still missing like 150 of them. So is this plan, which we've already heard is not good enough for some drivers, good enough for the foreseeable future? There's still a lot of conversation to go here.
We'll keep you updated on that. We're also tracking this in Ascension Parish, right? Johnny mentioned just a little bit of this here. The people are dealing with power outages, at least Entergy customers. Johnny showed you a little bit about where that's being impacted. A lot of it is Ascension Parish folks here. We checked in with Entergy, and they tell us that the estimated power restoration time is supposed to be roughly 10 a.m., Matt. Yeah,
so obviously, look, it's warm out there. You'd like that AC going. A lot of folks don't have that option right now. As Liz kind of takes you through the Entergy map right there, showing you pieces and parts. You can see it right along the river there where those outages really are. But hopefully that does come back by that 10 o'clock time frame. We'll keep you in the know. Obviously, if you're out of power, you you already know that. But we had those storms kind of rolling through earlier today, knocking some of that stuff out. Mayor President Sharon Western Broome going to knock out a little public address today.
Yes, she's expected to update us on the Summer of Homes campaign to kind of mitigate crime in the Baton Rouge area. Also expected to update us on the police chief search here now that Chief Paul has said that he's going to resign from the department coming up in November. So will we get an update and maybe some names or people running in the race? We'll find out later today at the press club.
Know. Also need to know about this, a deadline today in order for you to claim a tax refund. Otherwise, that money back to the state.
You should have gotten a letter from the Department of Revenue saying, hey, you are owed some money. Today you have to go ahead and claim that money, or else it ends up in the fund that ends up where you have to file a claim to get that money again. So make it easy on yourself. Go ahead and file that fund, or file your oh my gosh, the form to get that money back. We've got the link for you in this web story.
It's right there waiting for you. Will you be waiting on some rain a little bit later on today? Dr. Steve, you talked about it. The opportunity is still there later today?
Yeah, we're going to see a bit of a lull this morning now going forward, probably in the early afternoon, late today, and even tonight. There could be some storms returning. Keep an eye out for that. Most of us still need some rain, even though we got some over the weekend and this morning.
We could use as much as we can get.
Teaser over the weekend. I was happy to hear the thunder this morning when I left the house.
That's exactly it.
Johnny said he went to work with the windows down, soaked the whole inside.
It was nice. You got a little bit of a breeze coming in through. I don't blame you, Johnny. We'll see you in 10 minutes.
Get yourself summer ready with the award-winning lineup of Hondas at Team Honda. We'll help you find just the right vehicle to hit the road to whatever destination awaits you. Come shop the most awarded brand in Car and Driver's 10 Best history at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Siegen Lane.